back-to-back final round appearances. Win one. The other one didn't quite go that way, but he is your Hughes Performance $20,000 main event winner here today. Super Pro Door Car for the Clash. Let's get you headed into the staging lanes, please. Super Pro Door Car for the class to 5 and 6. Super Pro Door Car. Let's get our 16 contestants into the staging lanes. We're not even going to make you put on those price tag shaped name tags either. But you have been called. Come on down. We'll get you into the staging lanes for the Clash. Because you have to. Because you want to. Because there's $10,000 up for grabs. We just watched Pearson Deming earn a $20,000 payday. We watched Steve Allenak earn a $7,500 payday. We are 5 win lights away from seeing another racer earn a $10,000 payday. And if this is how we're going to start this out, buckle up, Buttercups. We got Tony Marconi and Andy Schmall, who both are a couple of drivers who are able to regularly find their way into the winner's circle. Whether it be at a local bracket race, whether it be at a big buck bracket race, whether it be at Divisionals, Nationals, wherever it is. These two have a tendency to find the winner's circle, and they are paired up here in round number 1, separated by 1/100th of a second in the dial. 592, the dial for the arrow of Marconi over the left side. 593, the dial for the banana, the Beretta of Andy Schmall out of Idaho. 12 thousandths of a second separate them in reaction time, and at the finish line, 592 on a 592, and our very first margin of victory in the Clash is 5/10,000ths of a second. Andy Schmall, 33 green, 14 thou above the dial. Tony Marconi was 45 green, 2 thou above the dial. 47 total to a 47 total. And in the very first pair, it's .0005. The margin of victory, with the winner of that pair coming out as Tony Marconi. Pedro Valdez. Now rolling up left side. Can't believe we still haven't fixed that. But it's Valdez who scrambled to get the car fixed, to be here in the shootout going up against Shelby Williams, the Foggett K&N sponsored 67 Camaro. Over on the right side, dialed in at 6.20 seconds. Robert Pedro Valdez dialed in at 707. Separated by 19 thousandths of a second. Winner is going to be Shelby Williams. 61 green, dead on 2 for Shelby. Nate Valdez was 42 green. Gets there first by 49 thousandths of a second. And breaks out with a 704 on a 707. Tim O'More and Jody George. Tim, 590 dial left side in the Camaro. Jody, 684 dial right side, 2 thousandths of a second, the difference in reaction time. On the brakes for Tim O'More, drops the nose and tightens up the stripe to 1.5 thousandths of a second to get the win light. 38 green to a 36 green, separated by 2 thousandths of a second at this end of the racetrack. Tim O is 29 thou above the dial and 1.5 thousandths of a second ahead down at the finish line to get the win light over Jody, I'm saying like Jody and George all in the Jordy. This isn't Star Trek, dummy. And I'm saying dummy to myself. Jody George was 36 on the tree and comes up. A thou and a half short at the finish line as the machine goes up against Mike Ealing. 008 to an 032, Ealing, 008, 4 above the dial. How about another margin of victory of less than a thou? 3 pair have been down the racetrack, and the widest margin of victory has been 15 ten-thousandths of a second. Ealing gets the win light by 4 ten-thousandths of a second. 008, 40 thou above the dial to be 48 total. David Meyer was 32 green. And 16 thou above the dial to be 48 total. So our first margin was 6 ten-thousandths, or 5 ten-thousandths of a second. Second was a thou and a half. Third was 4 ten-thousandths of a second. Are you ready? Because this is going to be mean. Tyler Smith and Stephanie Paz. The Nova is the plural of Nova. 645 to a 654. Out of the gate, we are green. 76 thousandths of a second is the difference in reaction time, and Tyler Smith, 003, and another margin of victory of 1.5 thousandths of a second. Second 15 ten-thousandths margin we've seen in 4 pair of cars. 662 on a 654 for Tyler Smith. Stephanie was 79 green, and then goes 646 on a 645. Can you believe this? In pro, round number 1 of the door car clash, we have yet to have a margin of victory greater than 2 thousandths of a second. Robert Butler, Steve Williams. Butler left side down 621, Williams right side down 585, 1 thou the difference in reaction time, and there's our first one that's more than a thou. Robert Butler gets there first, takes 56 thou at the stripe, needed to take 46 thousandths or less as he breaks it out by 10 thousandths of a second. Steve Williams was 43 green, 4 above the dial, goes 589 on a 585, and gets the win, cutting Butler loose down at the finish line. So Steve Williams and Shelby Williams both advancing out of round number 1, as we'll bring up Sasha Hofer and Craig Merrilees. Sasha left side, 7.40 seconds is the dial for the bird. Craig Merrilees dialed in at 6.29 seconds in the Camaro. I believe we should have all of our Super Pro competitors back in the staging lanes. The door cars are there. The Pro cars are here. Oh my. Craig Merrilees is going to be beating himself up over that one. Sasha Hofer is 10 green, goes 742 on a 740. Craig Merrilees had a reaction time that started with a 1. 152 on the tree and runs 628 on a 629. Merrilees is going to be looking at that one going, oh my. Alan Brown, Stan Deming. Deming, right side down 625. Brown left side, down 570. 26 thou the difference in reaction time. Alan Brown 003 and 571 on a 570. He's 12 thou above the dial, being 003 is 15 total. Stan Deming was 29 green, runs dead on 4, and had no chance to light up the scoreboard out of that right lane. Those were your 16 pro cars that entered, and we have now whittled it down to 8 on the pro side. We are going to roll into Super Pro. Greg Greer and Dennis Paz. All right, once again, Pearson Deming. Hey, congratulations on your $20,000 victory. We would like to invite you into the staging lanes at this time to race for another $10,000. I mean, how many times in your life do you get to hear that? Hey, you just won 20 grand. Why don't you come on back and race for another 10? Not often in this part of the world. You're like, yeah, I just won 20 grand. Now they're inviting me to the lanes to run for another 10. Okay. Hey, Mom, guess what? Dennis Paz down 657. Greg Greer down 686. 005 and 657 on a 657 for Dennis. Paz ends up 14th out total. Greg Greer was 13 green. Needed to get down there and go 686 dead on. With a one or better to have a chance at it, ended up running 687 to come up 13 thousandths of a second behind. So Dennis Paz takes the El Camino into round number 2. Greg Greer takes the minor headache back into the pits and will spend the rest of the night with a major headache, wondering and wishing. What might have been? Eric Dodge and David Beckwith. Beckwith in the Nova, Dodge in the Nova. Eric spends a lot of time on the road because he lives in boring places. He's down 529 and 17-0 for Eric Dodge. Dodge lights up the scoreboard to move into round number 2. David Beckwith was 003 on the tree, takes 22 thousandths of a second at the stripe and breaks out by 8 thousandths of a second. Ends up with that 605 on a 606, took 22. Needed to take 14th hour less as DJ Humard and Jason Pad. The wagon versus the love truck. I do dig that truck. Jason out of Chestermere, 598 dial in on the right side. DJ out of Palmdale, California, the 66 Nova wagon. Running out of the left lane. 639 to a 598. Head start belongs to the wagon. They are identical in reaction time. Both drivers leave 11 thousandths of a second after the green light comes on. DJ takes 22 thousandths of a second at the stripe and breaks out by 15 thousandths of a second. Runs 637 on a 639. Jason Pad was 11 green. DJ was 11 green. Pad goes dead on 7. And we'll bring back the love truck. Soon we'll be making another run. It's the love truck coming back for round number 2 is Andrew Olson and Wes Anderson. So it's Andrew versus Anderson. Mr. Anderson. Stage, set, ready, 541 the dial for the Altered, 588 the dial for the Camaro. With a 6th thou split in reaction time, comes down to a 7th thou margin of victory at the finish line. Wes Anderson was 10 on the tree, 17 thou above to be 27 thou total. Andrew Olson was 16 green and 18 thousandths of a second above the dial. Anderson moving on. As David Pohl and Dan McClellan. D-Mac in the Big Mac. Davis built Ford. Dialed in at 590. Pohl getting a second and a little bit more head start. Dialed in at 691. Away goes the Barracuda. Here comes the Ford. Finish line going to be McClellan. David Pohl was 68 on the tree. McClellan was 38 thousandths of a second better than that, leaving the line. Goes 593 on a 590 to get there first by 57 thousandths of a second and light up that Michelob Ultra scoreboard down on the right side of the racetrack. David Pohl goes 696 on a 691 and comes up short in round number 1 is Ricky Duschel and Jeff Higgins. Ricky left side, Higgins right side. Ricky, for the folks at Mike's Transmission, dialed in at 5.50 seconds. Higgins dialed in at 5:54. Red light start for Ricky by 0.04 of a second. 004 on the wrong side. Goes 5:52 on a 5:50 to end the run. Higgins puts up 8 foul total. 002, dead on 6 for Jeff Higgins. To move into round number 2, again, it is random pair all the way through. In the door car clash, AJ Cameron, Dustin Wirtz. Dustin, 518 dial, AJ in the El Camino, dialed in at 6:54. Dustin Wirtz goes red by 21,000ths of a second to be red and dead on 2. Oh. 21 thou red, dead 2 for Dustin Wirtz. AJ Cameron, 001, dead on 7. Cameron was 8 total on that trip down the racetrack, and we have got 1 pair left. You know, you are at a race with a whole bunch of bracket racers when we have got like just about a full quarter mile's worth of grandstands, and every single person that's found their way into the grandstands is hovered around that 660-foot mark just to watch what's going on down at the finish line. Be like, we are all going to sit right here together as a group. It's not that we're huddling together for safety. It's not that we believe that if we all stay here like this, we're not going to be attacked by the wild feral cats that are running around the property. It's just we know where the best place to watch a bracket race is, and that is right there at the finish line. That's just awesome. That's just awesome. So our final pair in round number 1 of the door car clash. Rolling out of the lanes, it's Chuck Hawk and it's Pearson Deming. Ha. No, I'm just saying, man, this is... Round number 1 has been great. There's 16 guys back there in the pits right now going, no it didn't. Well, there's 15 guys so far. But when round number 1 is over, there's going to be 16 people out there going, no, round number 1 was terrible. I don't know what you're so happy about. I hated round number 1. Then there's going to be 16 other racers that are going, and that was a little too close for comfort. But y'all know what you signed up for. You signed up. You signed up to run the gauntlet. You basically said, yes, let me see if I can face the firing squad and come out alive. Because that's what's going to happen. Pearson Deming dialed in at 648. Chuck Hawk dialed in at 488. Out of the gate in green, Chuck Hawk is big time on the brakes getting down to the finish line. He's going to go 491 on a 488 to get the win light after the 018 reaction time. Pearson Deming was 44 green, ends up running 647 on a 648, took 12 thousandths of a second down at the stripe, and breaks out by 5 thousandths of a second. So Pearson, I'm very sorry, that unfortunately you will have to be happy and accept only a $20,000 win today. I certainly hope that you are able to work through the emotional pain of only winning $20,000. I hope that the rest of your night will not be completely destroyed at the fact that you didn't get the extra 10, and that maybe $20,000 will be comforting enough to finish off your day with. We need Pro, round number 2. Pro, round number 2. Go ahead and come on back. Yep, Super Pro will call you back as soon as, well, you know, basically, let's just kind of cool them, fuel them, make them back as soon as you can. You know why? You guys know Sean Langdon's here. We all know that, right? Yes, he's moved on to race in the big top fuel fancy cars and get flown around the country and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes down to it, everybody knows that Langdon is a bracket racer at heart. And round number 1 was exciting enough that he's like, I want round number 2 right now. I want round number 2 right now. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. Round number 1 was great. Oh, my. All right, I'm going to catch my breath here for a minute because that was exciting. I liked it. I can't wait for round number 2. Oh, bring it on. Bring it on. Pro bracket, round number 2. Actually, I guess what I should say is pro car side of the door car clash. To lanes 3 and 4 for pro, please. Lanes 3 and 4. What? Uh-oh. All right, Pro to 3 and 4, Pro to 3 and 4. Super Pro, when you're ready, let's get you headed back to lanes 5 and 6, please. Super Pro, when you're ready, let's get you headed back to lanes 5 and 6, please. You know what, at this point, I'm jealous of, like, all of you guys sitting down there in the grandstands. I want to turn the mic over to, like, Jay and Mike English, and I just want to go down there and sit with you guys. I want to find a beverage that goes and watch from the finish line. I don't usually ever get to watch from the finish line. I don't know, I'm just, we got jobs to do. We got jobs to do. Now, I want to go down to the finish line where everybody else is. All of the bracket racers, we're all bracket racers. They're all sitting down there at the finish line watching what happens. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. They are, that looks like the party place to be. I would love to be down there. Like I said, finish off the night with something that when you open it goes, that'd be good. All right, so we're starting to get our pro cars back in here for round number 2. No way. 16 man first time. Mark, I may do that. I may do that for the next round. Just because we can. But we've got big checks, or a big check, and a trophy to hand out at some point. Unfortunately, Pearson Deming was eliminated in round number 1. But that is going to give us the opportunity to probably get his winner circle photos and pictures all taken care of. Again, we're getting, well, we should have 8. Yeah, I did math. I did math. 16 divided by 2 is 8. So we'll get 8 pro cars coming back. We'll get 8 super pro cars coming back. Ooh, that's magic. Jay Kaysen just made 4 of his fingers disappear, and I'm not going to tell you how because it would not be safe to air on any channel. So what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got 7 of our 8 pro cars. Let's get our last pro car down there. I'm going to find a big check and write Pearson Deming's name on it. We'll do photos. We'll do an interview. I don't know which of you boys is next. Which one of you gets to do round number 2? But I can tell you this. Nope. I'm going to tell you this. I got dibs. You guys fight amongst yourself who gets to do round 2 and round 3, but I got dibs on semis and finals. Mine. Mine. Yeah? Yeah? Nope. Nope. You did Super Pro finals. You're out. That's fine. That's fine. You and Jay fight it out between who gets to do round 2 and round 3, but I'm coming in for... I get round 4 and round 5. That's all I'm saying. Yay! All right. We're going to be quiet here for a minute. And then while Jay and Mike figure it out, or Waldorf and Statler, as I'm going to start calling them. Ah! You two are kind of like the Muppets, Waldorf and Statler. It's awesome. It was awesome. Oh, it was great. It was wonderful. How's that sexual harassment? You need to figure out the correct harassment terms before you start accusing anybody of anything. That is not that type of harassment. That is not gender harassment. That flat out, my friend, is age harassment. Well, that is. All right, once again, Super Pro. Let's go ahead and start getting you headed this way, please. Super Pro round number 2. Super Pro round number 2 of the door car clash. Let's get you headed this way, please. Door car class Saturday night here on Hughes Performance Saturday night for $10,000. Pro ET Round 2, Shelby Williams, the Boggett Camaro, and Tony Marconi in from Arizona for El Bandito Yankee Tequila. Marconi 592, Shelby Williams 620 in the Boggett K&N Camaro. Eight cars left. Pro ET. Say it, Super Pro. Cut them in half. And I know, being the mathematical genius that I am, 16 cut in half is 8. Boy, a whole group of fans down there watching the finish line racing there. The best spot in the house to watch the door car clash. Go down there and call the races down there. I've done that before here. Free stage. Tony Marconi's in, waiting on Shelby Williams to light that second light. Bumps it very carefully, Peyton would say. Head start that wheel down the Camaro. Here comes that Plymouth Hill. 003 was the starting line advantage. He didn't go. Wow. Tony Marconi 18, dead on 0 for the win. Shelby Williams 003, and this 2 over 22 with a 5. Tony Marconi going on to the next round is Tyler Smith. Tim O'More in from Arizona. That's the Camaro at 591. Chasing Tyler Smith for Mountain View Performance. The 68 Nova at 651. Both up pre-stage. Head start goes that Stealth Black Nova. Tyler tickles that second light. Green here. Big little advantage going to Tyler Smith in the Nova at 025. Tyler goes dead on to 025 for the win. Tim O'More got down there. He was 34 on the tree, then parked that Camaro in that 3-way Chevrolet light at 593.9. And Tyler moving to the next round is Sean Ely and Steve Williams. It don't get much better than these two. Sean the Corvette, get the head start at 642. Steve Williams, the K&N Filters, Pontiac G5 at 585. Corvette with the head start. Corvette was 008, drops that nose. Sean Ely, 008, 44 with a 2 on that 42 dial for the win. Stevie missed it at 62 and then goes to 90 on that 85. Get down there and said, Sean, I'm going to give you the stripe and hope you break out. It did not work out for that Pontiac G5. Is Alan Brown, 571. Chasing Sasha Hofer, Silver Platter Racing Firebird, 741 Sasha. 571 Alan Brown. Head start to that Firebird. Red light start, Alan Brown. Sasha 26 on the tree on that 741 dial-in. Sasha goes dead on 7 to move to the next round. Alan Brown, 573.3 on that 571 dial-in, and the red light start. Super Pro, you will be out next. Super Pro door cars for the $10,000 to win door car clash on Hughes Performance Saturday for the Silver State Refrigeration West Coast Classic here. Man, what a great Saturday it's been. It's been a real good Saturday if your name's Pearson Demi or Steve Alinach. Both of them already picking up some cash. Super Pro door car coming around the corner with Dan McClellan. The car that is for sale at $589 in the Big Mac Racing Roadster. Eric Dodge, out of Oregon. The Nova at $529 for Eric. Super Pro door car. If we get more than 2 letters, I'm in trouble. Door car class, Saturday night. Under the lights, Famoso Dragstrip, Hughes Performance, Saturday. So the head start going to Dan McClellan. Eric Dodge doing the chase. moved second down there top end. Dan McClellan by 11/10,000ths of a second. Dead on 5/013 for the win. Eric Dodge was 009, goes 5/300 on that 29 dialer, and by 11/10,000ths of a second, Dan McClellan going to the next round in the door car class. Dennis Paz, Wes Anderson, the legend. Wes Anderson, 5:42, chasing the El Camino at Dennis Paz at 6:56. Really, Mark Yeager, let Nate do the work? Oh, great there. Here comes that legend. Wes Anderson, that roadster down there top end. How about Dennis Paz? 005, 1/57 with a 2 on that 56 for the win. Wes was 25 and a 2/44 with a 1 on that 42. And the El Camino going rounds again in the door car class. Jeff Higgins, Chuck Hawk. Chuck Hawk, 488, the pro stock style pick-em-up truck out of Arizona. Jeff Higgins, the 34 Chevrolet Roadster, 554 for the runner-in from Boise, Idaho. Alvin, we're not going to tell stories like that. Come on. A 20-second story with Jay telling it would take 3 hours or longer. Head start to that roadster. Chuck Hawk through the station. Watching the finish line. Chuck Hawk packing the brake. Chuck Hawk, 029 on the tree, 96 with a 1 on that 88 dial for the win. Jeff Higgins missed the tree at 98 in the 6/559. AJ Cameron, Jason Pass. Wow, AJ put up an 8,000 package, round number 1. Jason Padd, the love truck out of Alberta, Canada, 594 for the light utility vehicle. Pre-stage, final pair, the door car clash in Super Pro. Move to the El Camino, 10 on the tree. Chuck Hawk, Jason Padd, dead on 1, 20 for the tree. AJ, 10 on the tree, 1/55 with a 2. That was 14/10,000ths of a second to Jason Padd. Wow. Boy, I'll tell you, all you folks sitting at the finish line down there, that must have been fun to watch. By 14/10,000ths of a second. Jason Padd moving on. Hey, Mark Yeager, Dodgers are still in first place. Just wanted to say. So that does it for that round of the $10,000 to win door car clash. Wow, what a good one. So, little break in the action here. So, when the door car class comes back on Hughes Performance Saturday night here, JK's going to take you to the next round. The door car clash for $10,000 to win.
Well, it looks like Mike's got some fans out there. Oh, man. Hey, listen up. We'd like to tell all your Clash folks, you pick up that win, you know, get a breath of fresh air and swing them on back to the lanes just as quick as you can. As you know, you are the show, but we like to see the show.
Security, security, security.
Oh, boy. All right. So basically they roll a dice. The Ealing family comes in here. They roll the dice and they decide what name they want us to call out over the PA. At one point we were calling the wrong name out, and Sean comes in and says, well, don't worry about it because you've been calling it Sean and he's been winning, so we don't want you to change. Well, who's driving? Mike is. Okay. So now Zach's winning and we're not calling him Zach. Are you sure you really want to do this? And you want to tempt this kind of fate? Attention in the pits, attention in the pits. Did you just have a really exciting race? Did you cap it off by stopping at the time slip booth and picking up a slip that says win on it next to your number? Then we would like to invite you to come on down. That's right, because somebody's going to get to enjoy a lot of money as we're polishing off the 16 car per category, Pro and Super Pro, door car clash, brought to you by West Coast Bracket Races. And we'd like to thank, of course, Mr. Hughes, also the Hughes Corporation, Hughes Performance, for doing it right, putting up the 20 grand for Saturday night. And we're finishing out our Saturday night with the door car clash. What a good time. I am telling you, there's an awful lot of really good racers, and there's a lot of really good fun going on here. And really do appreciate you guys all coming out. For that crowd down there by the finish line, yepper, there's a couple more exciting races to see. So again, Pro cars, Super Pro cars, make your way to the lanes, please. Attention in the pits, attention in the pits. This call goes out to one particular racer, Pearson Deming. Would you bring your crew and your car to the winner's circle, please? We figured it out that if you set the check down in the staging lanes and then go 3/4 of the way up the steps in the back of the tower, you can actually take a picture of it, and it works perfect with your deposit that you do through your phone. So, man, you could have that money available almost instantaneously. Again, Pearson Deming. And if you got to, bring Dad. Please come to the staging lanes. It's kind of a lane 9 kind of thing, right? Bring your car to the winner's circle. You know what? Forget it. You guys know exactly where that winner's circle is. Bring your car to it. Bring your smile. And we'll bring big checks and hats and such. Attention in the pits, attention in the pits. Yes, Al Clark, LACR ran the $39.99 bracket 2 different times at the Hangover Nationals. And yes, you could have a co-pilot, and you were more than welcome to do so. So the chat's gotten a little livelier. So it's amazing, the chat gets a little bit livelier on the feed when the money gets big. Super Pro, we're looking for you guys. Also, Pearson Deming, bring your crew. All right, it looks like the majority of our racers have come back as we get ready. In one way, it's kind of like the semifinals, and another way, it's kind of like the quarterfinals. Because obviously we run down to one car in each category, and then we run those two cars. All right, looks like we've got our cars loaded back in the lanes here, so it should be just a minute or so before we pull out the semifinal of each category. Pro, you guys should be suited up and ready to go. Pro, you're coming out next. Pro, you're coming out almost now. Super Pro, be ready to go. You will follow. Doing just a quick little bit of touch-up work on the track, so it'll be just a couple more seconds before we are ready to fire them and put them in the water hole. So
Hey there, boys and girls. Thanks for joining us all day. I know we're a little slow right now in between rounds, but we're doing a 32-car shootout. It's the 10K door car clash, and with 32 cars, and that's it. You got to give them a little bit of time. They've really been rushing them good, but we appreciate you guys staying tuned in. This is awesome. You guys know me. I'm a door car guy, and this is all door cars. So if you're just joining us, it started out as 16 pro cars, which means trans brakes are allowed but no delay box, and then 16 super pro cars, which are allowed a delay box and a throttle stop or any of those things they want to do. The racing has been insanely tight. The first round was absolutely nuts. I think the worst margin of victory was in the last pair, and it was like 100th. Now, I'm getting a margarita delivered to me right now. I'll be right there, Mark. Yes, that is awesome. Yeah, it's good because, in case you were wondering, that's not what your finger's supposed to look like. Yeah, that nail's going to fall off for sure. So I need a drink to make it feel better. Maybe I'll dip it in the margarita too. But we've got the next round, round number 3, coming up here in just a minute for our 10K drag, door car clash. Sorry, my brain's not working. There's a margarita coming. So the 10K door car clash is coming up. We've got another great round ready to rock and roll, and I cannot wait to see how this is all going to turn out, because this is going to be great drag racing.
When you had these in Sac? You remember you had them in Sac at
Yes,
race?
I remember.
Same guy.
Dude, I really appreciate it.
Let me know if you want another one.
I think one will be enough for now, but I really do appreciate it. Thank you, my friend.
Anytime, Charlie Olson.
All right, have a good one, dude. How'd you do today?
My son's Andrew, and that Silver Camaro.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, every year he makes the merge.
Yeah.
2 years ago he went down the final.
All right, all right, all right.
Oh.
But I'm getting old, so I put together my old turbo LS Duster. You see that old rusty Duster?
Yeah.
So I put that together, put a turbo LS power glide in it.
I knew that thing was turbocharged, but I didn't know it was an LS. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that thing looks like a riot.
It is a riot. It's just a power glide, 370 gears. It'll go 1030s on 9 pounds of boost.
Yeah. And do it forever.
And I got 120 runs on it, and I'm just learning how to get it to spool.
Got the word that the track is all tightened up and ready to go.
A couple weeks ago, I went 2 rounds every day. I really
Sound of engines in the background tells only one thing left to do. Somebody's got to go out there and make some money.
I got a new converter, and I'm running plus or minus 100. I just gotta hit that tree.
Man, what an absolute beautiful evening to do some drag racing under the lights. Gorgeous out here.
I parked in my backyard for 25 years. I said, screw it, I'm putting it together.
Hell yeah. All right, we'll see you later. Thank you.
Tony Marconi, the 76 Aero. A real live, honest to God, door slammer. Alongside Zach Ealing. The Ealing family has been confusing at best. Which racer to call when. 641 the dial in for Zach. 591 the dial in for Tony Marconi. So Zach's going to blast off in that direction, and then Tony Marconi's going to try to catch up to him. Yankee Tequila. Somebody was talking about margaritas. Tony staged up. Zach staged up. Tree jumps down. Lights the green. That's half the battle. The other battle gets tricky at the other end. Win light comes up Tony Marconi. He goes a 94 on a 91 after an 024 light.
42 with a 9 on a 41. Sean closer to his dial-in, but he gave up 3 and change on the tree, and that 3 and change worked out to an 024 stripe down at the other end. And that puts Tony into the round of 2 in the pro side of the door car clash. Here's Sasha Hofer. 7.40 seconds in the Firebird, alongside Tyler Smith. You can tell Tyler's car is shiny, but you can't tell what color it is. It's absolutely just pitch black. 740 with a 9 on a 740. She also 650 with a 5 on a 650. Tyler Smith giving it everything he had as he just ran within 5 thousandths of his dial, but unfortunately gave up just a little bit on the other end. That little bit worked out to an 0-1 stripe on this end. And here we go into Super Pro. The round of 4 Super Pro cars to turn it into 2 Super Pro cars. Chuck Hawk. Somewhere out there in the smoke is Chuck Hawk. 488 to dial in on the 3-way Chevrolet line. Dennis Paz, the 65 El Camino. Man, I'm telling you what, Dennis is going to put his tire guy in a new tax bracket. He's just been running the wheels off this thing. Staged up. Here comes the stage lights on both sides. Paz is in. Tree's on its way down. Paz with a second and a half head start. And gets a little bit more than that with the tree. And puts on the wind light. 658 on a 656. Dennis Paz takes kind of a chubby stripe down there, but he had it because that's 006 off the tree. Chuck Hawk, who had been just nailing the tree the entire afternoon, comes up 040 on this particular one, runs a 92 on an 88 as he goes to the brakes, hoping that was last chance romance right there, and nope, it didn't go. And Dennis Paz moves on. Here's Jason Pad, Jason the 75 Love Truck, alongside Daniel McClellan. Daniel the 27 Davis chassis car, 1927. Davis wasn't building cars back then, Ford was. Not a whole lot of Ford parts hiding in this car, but you can buy it to find out exactly how many are. You come all the way down from Alberta, you come here with one plan, not to break out. Oh, baby. Jason Pad takes the tree with him. He goes 003 on the tree, but then goes under by 2. And the Mickadoo gets parked, and Daniel McClellan moves on to the round of 2 in the pro category as he's 591 with a 0 on a 588, over by 3. He also happened to be about 022 difference on the tree, and if you start doing the math, yes, with a 2 breakout, that works out to a 7 stripe down at the other end. Man, Jason's going to be kicking himself on that one. So that brings us down to 4 cars.
All right, we are waiting for our 4 that are remaining in the $10,000 to win door car here on a Hughes Saturday. We're down here in the winner's circle, and we're congratulating Pearson Deming, yours. Is your super running 20? Why do we say the money in it like cut there? Maybe right there. So on a $20,000 to win. Hughes Performance Saturday. Let's make some noise for Pearson Deming, your winner. It has been a few attempts to get to that final round win, and today you cracked through. Made it to the finals last night, made it to the finals tonight, came up one win light short yesterday, but tonight that final scoreboard turned on. I know you've been to semis, you've been a runner-up before. How did it feel to see that last scoreboard light up here tonight?
I was pretty stoked. Yeah, I've been close and just choked it away, so tonight was cool. I'm very blessed. I got to give all the glory to God. I'm so blessed to have this platform and be able to spread His word and make Him known. Thanks Boise Valley Towing, Kid Performance and Dyno, Chris, the whole West Coast staff. This race is awesome. I've got to watch it when it was in Fontana, and I wish I raced it, and I'm finally getting to race it here, so I'm just incredibly blessed with great friends and great family, so couldn't be more happy.
Well, not only do you get to race it here, you've added your name to a list of very elite racers that have won at the West Coast Bracket Series, and I want to know a little bit about your car, right? I mean, your dad was telling me that the car, somebody actually hit a deer in the thing. You smashed it out. The car is just cool. It's unique. It's one of a kind. And when it rolls into the staging lanes, it's so kind of unassuming. But as soon as you make a trip down the racetrack, everybody's head turns and goes, wait a minute, whoa.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a weapon, and I don't care what it looks like as long as it's going dead on. So, yeah, if I can manage to let go, cars usually got me. So I'm very blessed. My dad's and my uncle and all the people that put time and effort into the car, and I'm truly blessed. And yeah, I mean, I love the car. It's comfortable, so it works.
Well, I'll tell you what. I want you to hold up that trophy, show everybody what look on a Hughes Performance Saturday. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it one more time. Champ, 20 grand richer, Mr. Pearson Deming.
Thanks, Nate. Great people. It's always fun to watch families get together and come out here, and nothing's more fun than watch a family get together, do a lot of good drag race, and then put a great big pile of money in their pocket. Awesome job. Incredible. Listen up, folks, back there in the pits. If you put the wind light on in the last round, come on down. We'd love to have you come back. The sooner you come back, the sooner somebody gets that money. And it's pretty decent cash if you think about it. It's $10,000. $10,000. That's good money. I mean, think about it. Earlier today, you handed somebody $500, and then later today, somebody hands you $10,000. You made better money than if you had insider information in the stock market. That's how good this money is. So while we have a couple seconds, give everybody a little rundown. Tomorrow, gates open, parking registration and tech starts at 7 a.m. There'll be a chapel service, which is going to happen pretty soon, about that same time. Anyway, there are signs up near the first set of grandstands that have all the complete information. Plus, of course, you can ask quite a few people around here that are going to attend the chapel service, and they'll be more than happy to tell you where it is, when it is, and hopefully everybody gets a chance to enjoy that. Anybody who comes in tomorrow, or tonight I should say, and it's a new entry, new car, new driver, you get a time trial tomorrow morning. We're going to try to put you down the track at 8 a.m. And then eliminations are going to follow immediately like they did today. Of course, one big difference is, of course, we don't happen to have a $10,000 to win door car clash like we have this evening. So we'll get everybody done, up, down, and done, and on the road. Man, I'm telling you what, it's getting so late, even Nate's looking good. Well, you know what? Nate is actually a handsome man. A lot of them, you hear his voice and you go, man, that guy's got a great voice. A lot of people in the world would kill for a voice like that. Anyway, well, I'll tell you what. Nate, begged for it. You said, man, I want to have the last 4 cars in this deal.
I did.
Anyway, I'm jealous because you're going to watch some of the best racing's ever seen on this racetrack. How many double O's, triple O's have we seen? It's just been absolutely incredible. And again, racers, if you're one of the last 4, please come down to the lanes as quickly as possible. I mean, think about it. Everybody's in the money at this point. Now the question is just how much money are you going to take home? You realize there's lots of places to entertain yourself, and we appreciate that you come here to entertain us while you entertain yourself. And with that, I'm going to turn the microphone duty back over to Nate. Nate, thank you very much, sir.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Jay. We are down to 4 that remain in the door car clash. We just congratulated our Hughes Performance $20,000 winner, Mr. Pearson Deming, picking up the win in Super Pro. Of course, earlier in the day it was Steve Allenak picking up the win in Pro. They joined Chase Trimp, your Pro winner from yesterday. Gabe Torres, your Super Pro winner from yesterday, and we've still got, as Jay was saying, no, tomorrow we do not have a $10,000 or $20,000 shootout. But what we do have is a Meziere Enterprises $10,000 to win main event in Super Pro and a $5,000 to win main event in Pro. And you are mentioning tomorrow morning, chapel service. What time?
I believe they want to start somewhere around
7:30-ish. All right. And they're going to be doing it right here kind of in the grandstands, right in the grandstands. They've got the signs up. Now, the reason that I kind of bring that to the attention of everybody is because, let's see, last night when Gabe Torres started his interview with Mike, he started off by giving all the glory to God. Tonight, when we met with Pearson Deming, he started off by giving all the glory to God. So for those of you who are going to be missing your regularly scheduled chapel service at home, especially on a Memorial Day weekend. Now, I know you may be thinking, well, what does that one really have to do with the other? Well, just think about it. We got songs like, God Bless America. Because we are blessed to live in this country. We are blessed to enjoy these freedoms that we have because of the individuals that we are going to be remembering this weekend. Those that have served our country, that have given everything that they have to protect that freedom that we enjoy. They've given their lives to defend our freedom. We are remembering them this weekend, and they are the ones that give us the freedom to worship as we please. That's our choice here in this country. Whatever it is that you choose, and if you choose to join us tomorrow morning for a non-denominational chapel service, correction on the time, it will be at 7 a.m., which will make the weather even a little nicer. It'll be even nicer. But 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, in the Grove, behind the starting line grandstands, if you want to join us for the Team RSC, Racers for Christ, and non-denominational chapel service, and I am certain, I'm not promising, but I'm pretty certain that tomorrow's message will probably have something to do with our freedom and Memorial Day. I'm just thinking. So that's really a cool thing. That is what gave us the opportunity to be here. That is what gives us the opportunity to worship as we please, choose whatever it is that we choose, and again, kind of our freedom of speech, everything that we have here. So we have got the freedom to race for $10,000. We've got 4 cars left to race for $10,000. I think it's about time that we get those 4 remaining cars to make their way into the staging lanes, and we'll whittle it down to our final 2. Again, we are coming down to the end of a Hughes Performance Saturday here at the Silver State Refrigeration and HVAC West Coast Classic. We've already handed out $2,700 plus dollars. Excuse me, $27,000 plus dollars. $27,500 has already gone out. We've got 10 grand more to give out, and we need 4 cars to join us in the staging lanes. Let's take our final 2 in Pro, our final 2 in Super Pro. I hear them rumbling this way. So we got one of each, 1 Pro, 1 Super Pro. All right. There we go. We'll get the other two headed up this way. And we'll be going after it. And that's the thing that I dig about coming out to these races. Look down there in the grandstands and we've still got like a whole bunch of people hanging out down there wanting to see who gets to go home with this $10,000 tonight. Yeah, I mean, see some good racing, the camaraderie. Folks that are competitors during the day are now compatriots here in the grandstands. I love it. I love it. The other thing that I absolutely love about this is, you know, when you're not on the mic and get back into the staging lanes, get a walk around and visit with some folks, a whole lot of smiling faces. Because we are out here with the awesome opportunity to spend a little time. Just reminds you of the Beatles song, I get by with a little help from my friends. And that's really cool. We've got our 4 that have made their way back here into the staging lanes. Dennis Paz, Daniel McClellan on the Super Pro side, Tony Marconi and Sasha Hofer on the Pro side. We're going to see which 2 will get to come back and represent their respective categories in that run for $10,000. That's just fun. It's just fun. And I'll tell you what, even though I've only been to this racetrack twice, it is rapidly climbing its way up my list of favorite tracks. Very quickly climbing its way up, despite the fact of who's managing the place. It is quickly climbing up my list of favorite racetracks. The Grove is cool. The food is great. The people are even better. I'm not talking about Mark. Actually, all right, so I mentioned earlier that kind of hitting that milestone of 20 years behind a microphone started back in 2004. One of the very first people that I ever met when I went to work at a racetrack was Mark Dawson, because he was at LVMS, working there, and despite that, I stuck with it. Oh, no, man, I dig Mark. Mark is definitely one of those racetrack brothers that you will never, ever, 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 ever forget. Faux show. Dude, you have no idea how much I still use Manamana. Oh, it's so awesome. But I do see drivers climbing into cars. And we are just moments away from hearing the beautiful rumblings of combustion escaping exhaust pipes and collectors. RPMs skyrocketing and dial-ins on scoreboards and the smell of overheated rubber. You gotta love everything about a racetrack. Everybody's all spread out down there in the grandstands, right? I'd be like, I wonder if we're actually coordinated enough to do like a 26-person. Who sent that? Oh, that's awesome. I wonder if we're coordinated to pull out. I don't know how many people are down there. What, maybe 27? To pull off like a 27-person wave. I don't know. I just hope that somewhere, when we send our last pair down the racetrack, I can locate a beverage that makes that noise. That would be good. All right. Pro is on their way out. Super Pro is getting suited up. We're going to take 4 down to 2. In the Pro category, will it be Tony Marconi? Will it be Sasha Hofer? And is that the first time here in the shootout that somebody is, well, let's just say the first time Sasha's ended up over on that side of the racetrack. At least in the shootout. So Tony Marconi in the Aero, dialed 591. Sasha Hofer in the Firebird, dialed in at 740. Sasha, no stranger to the late rounds. Here at Bakersfield, no stranger to the late rounds in a shootout. At the West Coast bracket races, Tony Marconi also no stranger to either one of those situations. Pre-stage bulbs are lit on both sides of the racetrack. Head start will belong to Sasha, courtesy of that 740 dial. Here comes Tony. Advantage to Tony Marconi, win light to Marconi. Marconi was 26 on the tree to Sasha Hofer's 074. Marconi goes 594 on a 591. Sasha is 739 on a 740. They got to the finish line, I mean, pretty much at exactly the same time. It was 1/10,000th of a second. The difference at the stripe, Sasha breaks out by 10,000ths of a second. Marconi is moving into the finals of the door car clash for $10,000 with Daniel McClellan and Dennis Potts. Again, talking about a couple of racers who are fairly familiar with each other. I would say it's probably safer to say that Kevin and Dennis raced each other over and over and over and over again throughout the years, and now that next generation of racers stepping up to take on Dennis Paz here in the semifinals of the Clash. 657. The dial in for the El Camino. 587, the dial in for the Davis-built Ford and the folks over at Big Mac Racing. Daniel's going to be the first one to stage it up on the starting line. Dennis rolls in and joins him as the tree begins to drop. We are green on both sides and separated by just 7,000ths of a second. Finish line says Daniel McClellan is moving on to the final by 9,000ths of a second. McClellan was 20 on the tree. Dennis was 27. So a 7,000 advantage to Daniel at this end of the racetrack. Dennis ends up 22,000ths of a second over the dial. Daniel ends up 20,000ths of a second over the dial, and by 9.6 thousandths of a second, Daniel McClellan sneaks the nose of that ride across the finish line first and secures a date with Tony Marconi in the final for 10 grand at the Door Car Clash here at the West Coast Classic. Ooh. Ooh. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be way cool. So we are going to give those racers a few moments to make their way back into the pits, get them cooled down, get them fueled. And we'll get them back here as quickly as they are ready to get back here to run for $10,000. One pair left here tonight in Famoso, under the lights, at a track whose history eclipses just about every other track on the planet. No. Not because, oh my goodness, did we see like the run here? Did we see this? Did we? No. We have seen multiple runs here. I haven't, but others have. Mike English has seen a lot of them. Matter of fact, I think Mike English is actually one of those guys that, you remember the, what was the boat? Yeah. No, not when Moses parted the Red Sea down the road from here. But, you know that, I know he was there. He was like holding his robe so it didn't get wet. But what I'm talking about is that ship from Pirates of the Caribbean, where Davy Jones, the crew, would just be there so long that they would just kind of become part of the ship. Yeah. That's why there's a Mike English special, and he's just kind of somehow becoming part of the woodwork of the tower. He's like growing roots. Wow. And it's just cool. So again, tomorrow morning, 7 a.m., non-denominational chapel service. We'll start racing at 8 a.m. with our new entries. We'll dive right into round number 1 of eliminations on what will be a Meziere Enterprises $10,000 to win Sunday. We'll get things done in a timely fashion. Give everybody an opportunity to either enjoy the rest of their Sunday afternoon or maybe get a head start on their way home. Maybe get home in time to enjoy your Memorial Day back at the house before everybody kind of gears back up and goes back to work on Tuesday. And I'm going to get out here early enough to make sure I secure one of those breakfast burritos. I want one. So we're going to do that. So that's kind of the schedule for tomorrow morning. Again, 7 a.m. chapel service, 8 a.m. at new entry time runs. Immediately following, we start eliminations on the final day. And then looking at that, again, talking about kind of, you know, the historical venue that this is. It's really, really cool. Just as a reminder to everybody that, you know, Chris's announcement yesterday about adding a third West Coast bracket race this year, coming up in September, that will run in conjunction with the Nitro Chaos here. Again, it'll be a 200-car capped field. If you are a previous winner, or if you are one of the kind of sponsors, partners that has been a part of the event, there will be a certain number of spots set aside, kind of a provisional position for you in that 200-car field. Once that has been determined, how many of those provisional positions will be used, and the number of remaining positions, that'll be opened up for the rest of the racers who want to come down here and participate. As Chris was saying, going to be running twin 20s that weekend. Do a little testing and tuning on Friday. 20 grand are on Saturday, 20 grand are on Sunday, and with that Nitro Chaos being here and those later rounds being run in conjunction with Nitro Chaos, you get an opportunity to run a West Coast bracket race in front of probably a fairly packed house here. I don't know what the typical turnout for a Nitro Chaos event is here, but I can imagine you've got some pretty good full grandstands. I'm just saying, it's going to be pretty cool. So that's definitely something you're going to want to add to your list of to-dos. Make sure that you're ready to go for that sign-up. So again, once we've got our 2 finalists back in the staging lanes, we will make that last decision as far as who gets the $10,000. kind of high school story? I've told, I think, most of my stories. I have. I think I've told most of my stories. Like when I tried to burn down a rest stop along the highway just north of St. George, north of Cedar City, Utah. I told that one. Brand new high school. Oh, jeez. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that's not the greatest thing. That's not the greatest thing. Oh, my goodness. Mike English, you're going to tell us about the time you tried to burn down your high school?
No. I had nothing to do with burning down the high school. But I had a 6440 Econoline van. No, it didn't have any windows in it. It was, yeah, that's it. And
64 Econoline van with the words free candy written on the side of it. Couldn't figure out why the cops kept following.
yeah, it was, well, never mind, don't go there. So a buddy of mine was a skydiver. And he comes by the house one night and he goes, hey man, check this out, look what I got. And I said, what is it? It's a cargo chute that they used to, the military would use to drop Jeeps out of airplanes and stuff. And I thought, oh man, this is good, we're gonna have some fun. So we go out actually by where Orange County Raceway was in Irvine there. There was no houses there, there was all orange groves and stuff and everything. And I said, hey, tie that thing onto the trailer hitch. So we get going probably about 60, 65, 70 miles an hour, and he's sitting in the back, and I said, push that thing out. And he pushes it out the back window. And thank goodness it ripped loose. He didn't tie it good enough. Because it would have killed us. Because, so we turned around and we go back and we get this thing, and, you know, I got my chest all pumped out and everything, and I said, I'll tie it on this time. So I take the thing and I tie it on there real good and everything, and it's not coming loose. And we're doing maybe 30, 35 miles an hour, and I yelled at my buddy Tim. I said, push it out, push it out. He chucks that baby out the back, and all of a sudden I hear this. The parachute opening, and I turn and I look through the curtains in the van. Had curtains in my van, you know, had to be cool. And all I see is this huge white thing. And I'm like, oh, wow. And I turn around and look, and all I see is asphalt. The parachute had picked us up in the air, and we're coming face first, windshield first, down onto the street. So it slams onto the driver's side, and it's sliding along. Well, the Ford Econoline van had the gas cap on the driver's side. It peels the gas cap off and covers the street in gas and lights on fire. This was right next to, you know, the blimp deals that just burned down the blimp hangars in Tustin? Right next to that. But there was nothing there then except for the base. I mean, there was a few industrial things. Now it's jam-packed. So this thing catches on fire, and my buddy Tim bails out the back, and he's yelling for me to get out of there before it blows up. And I figure, oh, I'll just stand up and open up the door and climb out the top and jump up. I can't get the door open. So now I'm kind of like starting to panic a little bit, and I make a dive out the back of the van into the street. And there's this parachute laying there. And it's very apparent to me, we're not going to put this fire out. This thing is going to go. And there's a parachute, and I can see fire trucks now coming from the blimp base, and they're coming from all over the place. So I'm sitting there trying to rip these shroud lines to burn them so I get the parachute out there. Finally, I get it loose. I mean, within seconds, the first fire truck pulls up. And I was just like, oh man, I ran over, hit it in the bushes and stuff. And they're like, so what happened? And it was just drizzle, just enough that I could say. Told them, I said, well, I think I had a flat tire, because they're never going to know, because there's nothing left of this van. And I think I had a flat tire, and I lost control in the rain. And they had no, I got home, the cops came, the tow truck came, the tow truck driver took us home, and pulls up out in front. And my mom is like, you know, I was like, oh, I don't know, 20 at the time. So I figured I'll take it to my parents' house. Tow truck pulls up with me in it, and this buddy of mine, and my mom happened to be watching TV or something, and she comes out, because this is like midnight when this ended, and she's like all wound up and everything. Don't leave that thing here. And I'm like, Mom, it's my van, you know, it's like, I'm going to fix this, you know. Gone. It was done. It's classic, though. It was one of the best stories about it. I mean, that thing was, what a ride.
Hang on. That's a great story. All right, so I'm going to say this. That's a great story. But I know you're not telling the truth, and here's why. You've got to have your details straight. You got to have your details straight. Because you said your mom came out, it was like midnight.
Yeah.
And you were how old?
Oh, I was in my 20s.
You said she was watching TV.
Yeah.
No. There were only 3 channels on, and every single one of them signed off the air at 10 o'clock at night.
No, you forgot about Johnny Carson.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Anyway, no, it's all good. Listen, we are ready for our finalists. Let's get them headed back here. The reason that we let Mike English tell a story is because that would be inspiration for our finalists to make their way back to the staging lanes, because if they don't get here quickly, I'm going to let him tell another story. I'm sure. No, there's a lot of funny things that happen, and I think that's the other cool thing about, the folks that are sitting down there in the grandstands is moments like this are the opportunity to share those stories of, all of the experiences you've had at the racetrack. It brings us all closer together and truly kind of solidifies that whole drag racing family experience, environment, everything. It's pretty cool. So we've got one of our finalists back in the staging lanes. I see a bunch of golf cart headlights roll in this direction. So we should have our second finalist headed back this way soon. And we will wrap up a Hughes Performance Saturday here at Famoso. In the middle of the orchards in Bakersfield, California. Oh, Chandler, that's funny, man. That is funny. You may be absolutely right on that. No, we certainly can get to talking if we need to get to talking, and at this point in time, we've got 2 finalists back in the staging lanes, so we don't need to get to talking. They're doing a little talking. They're going to discuss things. Once they discuss things, they're going to get in the cars, and then they are going to let the driving tell the story. Which is going to be pretty awesome. So, I can tell you this, drivers are getting suited up, they're putting on jackets, climbing into the race cars. I don't think they did. I'll tell you, there's a lot of really fun stories, but so as we get ready to go for the final, one more time, just a reminder on tomorrow's schedule. Again, if you would like to spend a little time in the morning at a non-denominational chapel service, if you're going to miss your regular services back home, 7 a.m. in the Grove behind the starting line grandstands. There are not a lot of places that you get to attend a chapel service in a grove of trees. So that would be pretty cool. You should do that. You should do that. So 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, we'll start with chapel service. 8 a.m., we'll get started with new entry time runs. And immediately following that, we will kick off eliminations on a Meziere Enterprises $10,000 to win Super Pro Sunday and a $5,000 to win Pro Sunday. I have to tell you, I don't think this mic likes being switched back and forth very much. Maybe I'll tighten that up and it'll keep it from cutting out on us. So yeah, 7 a.m. non-denominational chapel service, 8 a.m. new entry time runs. Round number 1 of eliminations immediately following that. So I see helmets on. I see thumbs up coming out of the driver compartments in each of the cars. I see dial-in boards lighting up, and it's going to be just a matter of moments before we hear engines fire. See? That's what we want to hear. So for those of you that have been sticking with us here on the Bang Shift live feed, once again, thank you to Optima Batteries, thank you to Holly, thank you to Bang Shift for staying live all day long, and thank you to all of the racers that are hanging out with us in the grandstands down there at the finish line to see what will happen between Tony Marconi and Daniel McClelland in a race for $10,000. The dial-ins are on the boards. And I believe it was Daniel's grandfather, the greatest to ever pick up a microphone at a drag race. He says the scoreboards will tell the story. McClelland dialed 586 on the left side. Marconi dialed 591 on the right side. Pre-stage bulbs lit both sides of the racetrack, now staged. Down go the lights, and away go the cars. Marconi was 44 on the tree, runs dead on 8 to come up 12 thousandths of a second short against Dan McClelland. McClelland 009 and 31 thou above the dial to get the win light. Tony Marconi was 44 green, runs 591 on a 591 But a 12 thou margin of victory at the finish line puts the win light on the side of the Big Mac racing car. Daniel McClellan picking up 10 grand here tonight in the door car clash at the West Coast Classic. Brought to you by the folks at Silver State Refrigeration and HVAC. That is going to bring a close to our Hughes Performance $20,000 Saturday. Again, racers, for all of you down there in the grandstands, thank you so much for hanging out, watching the show, giving your support to your fellow racers. We're going to be down on the side of the tower here momentarily to talk to Daniel and find out exactly what's going through his mind as he collects up his $10,000 prize. We got the big check. We're going to write the name on it. We'll be down there momentarily. Once again, for those of you that are hanging out here at the track, we hope you have a very safe and enjoyable and nice evening. 7 a.m. tomorrow, Racers for Christ. 8 a.m. new entry time runs. Again, on behalf of Mike English and Jay Kaysen, who spent a lot of time on the mic today helping us out. It's been a pleasure working with these guys over the past couple of days. We still get another day to do it. We will see you guys back tomorrow. I'm Nate Hershey. We'll be downstairs in a minute to talk to Mr. McClellan. car clash. Rolling up here in front of the tower with us, it is the one, the only, Daniel McClellan, picking up 10 grand here at Famoso on a Hughes performance Saturday night, man. Tell me, 10 grand, you got a smile on your face. This has got to feel really good right now because that was a brutal field of cars.
Absolutely. With you about 3 days ago, and I know that's usually a bad omen, but God, today got some lucky rounds, and it's a special weekend for us. 2 years ago, Pops passed away, and the first one of these shootouts I won, I dedicated that win to Pops, and riding with us this weekend. He's proud of us for sure that we're still out here doing this. And my dad, I've broken every part that we have on both cars the last couple of years. I broke the third member in Vegas. I broke the trans last year at this race. I haven't been in that car in a year, and I blew up the engine in the wagon right after they blew up the Roadster. So I think this check is spent, but the cardboard and put it on the wall. I'm really proud of this one. Thank you, Nate.
Well, I'll tell you what, one of the cool things that we talk about is, you know, being able to race as a family, multi-generational racing. You guys have been in this thing for 3 generations. It's got to feel awesome to be able to be out here and do this with your dad all the time.
Absolutely. We don't get to do this very much anymore. And reminder, we put this car up for sale this weekend, $40,000 turnkey, just as it won the...
Let's plug on a for sale car that just won $10,000. Let's hear it for Daniel McClellan, your shootout winner here tonight at Hughes Saturday.
Well, gang, that's it. We're done for today. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll be live somewhere between 8:30 and 9 a.m. tomorrow morning as we get into Sunday, Meziere Sunday. Meziere Sunday is going to be a big one. Another 10 grand on the line in Super Pro and 5 grand in Pro. So big thanks to Meziere and Kid Performance and Dyno and Hughes, as well as Optima Batteries and Holly. And to all of you guys that are out there that have watched with us today, we really do appreciate it. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. And, you know, for those of you that are just joining us and you've never seen one of our broadcasts before, thank you so much. We appreciate it for sure. And we love it here at Famoso. So can't wait for tomorrow morning. We'll see you guys tomorrow.